Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening to you all. Hope you guys have been having a great day out there and a great week so far. Got you an evening video just talking about a couple different things. We're not going to talk about the tropics in this video. I will mention the GFS has folded to other model guidance, so it's not showing those outrageous model solutions. So it came back to reality. It's kind of was an embarrassing thing for the GFS. I'll tell you that, if it had feelings. But the GFS is definitely folded away from that aggressive scenario with a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico next week. So that's good news. Obviously, we don't want a hurricane already in May. That would be insane and obviously record breaking. But I will mention, we're going to talk about a couple things. One is the big time heat showing up really the next 48 hours, maybe even longer. Across areas of the South. Another thing we're going to talk about a little bit is a big-time snowstorm for areas in the Rockies. I know you're thinking, well, snow in the Rockies isn't that big of a deal, that rare, but we're starting to get into mid to almost late May, and areas of Denver, Colorado Springs, even the Front Range outside the highest elevations, even the areas of the plains of eastern Colorado could see accumulating snow, including Denver. Could maybe see as much as, who knows, 3 to 5, maybe 6 inches of snow out of this. This is pretty rare. Not super rare. You see crazy things like this all the time. You see a lot of April snowstorms in the Front Range. That's not super rare at all. But when you get into May, it starts to get rather uncommon. So that's really what we're going to talk about. And also break down a little bit of the severe weather threat for tomorrow. But we'll really dive deep into that tomorrow morning. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. There's a new super thanks icon down there at the bottom of the video. It's just another way to support what I do, and I really appreciate people who've already used it. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so. I've seen more and more people doing that lately, and it's really awesome to see. People are going through some hard times right now with the prices of everything going up and things like that. So it's getting kind of rough out there, but you still got to maintain that positive output and try to spread positive energy to others. A lot of people want to focus on the negative, but sometimes you just got to look at the good things too, and definitely utilize the gifts that you're given to help others and to glorify God. So let's get rocking and rolling with the weather right now. Right now, you're looking at the satellite visibility. Really what's going on majorly is the area in Kentucky right now where you have some severe storms rocking through Kentucky. In fact, let's go on and look at radar scope of what's going on. It looks like that one run of the HRRR model ended up being correct this morning. We have some tailing off of this, basically not decaying, but kind of weakening, if you will, line of storms that's moving through Kentucky. If you don't know where we're at, this is Kentucky right here, Lexington, Kentucky right here. And you have almost some semi-discrete supercells trying to develop. They're producing a little bit of hail, some pea-sized hail, maybe nickel-sized hail in this region, well south of Lexington, Kentucky. So please be careful if you're in southern areas and even downstream in southeast areas of Kentucky. This will start to meander into higher elevations of eastern Kentucky, but watch out for these storms throughout the later in the evening hours. They can pack a punch for sure with damaging winds, maybe a quick tornado threat, but really the biggest threat is probably some hail and damaging winds for sure. If we look at the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow, there's an enhanced risk up here. So we need to watch out for some discrete supercells that can form and produce some large hail and even a tornado threat. Then you've got this area that's really trended up very quickly over the last 24 hours, a slight risk stretching all the way from southeast Missouri, all the way through the Carolinas, all the way to Wilmington, North Carolina, and the coastal regions. So this includes big cities like Charlotte and Raleigh, so in North Carolina, so almost in Columbia also. So severe storms are possible, and we'll talk a little bit about that here. If we're looking up here in the north central U.S., I'm sorry, I'm struggling talking right now. If you look in the north central U.S., watch out Wisconsin tomorrow. I'll talk more about this tomorrow. We'll add the most latest and greatest information. But my folks up here in Wisconsin, even Minnesota, watch these storms fire up around 4 or 5 p.m. here in eastern areas and western areas and northwestern areas of Wisconsin. You got to watch out for some big time storms. These could be individual in nature, meaning they're discrete, meaning you got supercells taking full advantage of the environment at bay here. So please be careful in areas in western and then central Wisconsin a little bit later in the afternoon, and even more showers and storms will develop as you get into the evening times. These could produce large hail, especially if you get a discrete supercell. A quick tornado is definitely possible where you have a 5% risk in an area up here of a tornado. In fact, you look at that 5% risk right here. Please watch out. Probably in this region right here, there might be a little bit of limiting factor of any kind of storm initiation, but if anything does get going, you're going to run that risk of a tornado. So please be careful. And even in areas of northern and northeast Iowa, even though there's nothing really showing up on the HRRR model. A little bit further south, for tomorrow's threat, you get into tomorrow, you're getting into Thursday afternoon and evening. A big cluster of showers and storms will move through Kentucky again. Expect this to drag a little bit further south, and these could pack a punch. There's another threat, too, for a tornado threat, large hail, and damaging winds. But one thing you're not seeing here, there's a slight risk down here in the Carolinas, but you're thinking, okay, well, where are the storms? Well, the dynamics are there. You got a little bit of capping in here, but you got steep mid-level lapse rates, which means in the mid-levels, several thousand feet up in the atmosphere, the temperatures drop rather quick, which can promote a hail threat. So that's something we need to watch out for tomorrow if anything gets going. And I think it will. I really think it will. 9 times out of 10 in situations like this, the storms do fire. You're just not seeing them yet. But please watch out in the Carolinas tomorrow. Severe weather is certainly possible, especially in North Carolina. But this cluster of storms will continue to move through and kind of weaken tomorrow night into the wee hours of Friday morning. So we need to watch out for that. As far as the hot temperatures, tomorrow, 90s, the hottest day of the year so far for the southeast. Watch out, South Carolina, Georgia, even into North Carolina, places like Fayetteville, which historically gets really hot. I really think areas like Columbia, South Carolina, Augusta, Georgia, even Atlanta could get to the mid to upper 90s tomorrow. Somebody might briefly hit 100. I have my doubts on that, but I really think we'll hit the mid to upper 90s tomorrow. So please, be aware of that. Obviously we always are in the southeast. It's just getting to that time of the year. But very hot temperatures. Luckily, the humidity's not going to be sky high, so it's not like you got temperatures in the 90s, but with a heat index in the mid 100s. It's not going to be like that yet. We're not to the time of the year where we just get consistent, brutal humidity. But I will tell you, as we get into Friday, it's going to be another scorcher. In fact, it might be hotter, but, the Carolinas, very hot temperatures, into mid to upper 90s, and we need to watch out for this. 90s could get all the way, low to mid 90s could get all the way up into Washington, D.C. So it's just something we need to watch out for. Not a huge deal. Like I said, we're used to this, but this heat is going to be hitting us early and often this year so far. It's going to cool back down as we get into the latter part of this coming weekend. But the armpit of hell, what I like to call it, for South Carolina especially, is going to flex a little bit on us over the next few days. So please just be aware of how hot, the temperatures are for sure. Don't let it catch you off guard. I don't think it's going to catch anybody off guard here in the South. Very warm temperatures. We also get into our Saturday. I think we'll have one more really hot day. In fact, I think Saturday could be really hot for areas a little bit further north and east. So, it's going to be pretty hot here in the Carolinas also, and obviously hot down here in the deep South states. But even up the I-95 corridor, up there in New York City, Boston, 90s expected for your Saturday. Hottest day of the year by far for Saturday for a lot more people, especially further northeast. So go on and be aware with that. Also, we'll talk about Texas. You folks are just going to be blazing hot. Y'all been blazing hot for a while. But tomorrow, temperatures could get to 105, 106, 107 degrees in certain areas. It's going to be very hot. And then we start to get into Friday. You see this big old cold front that's trying to push through? That is going to spark a snowstorm for areas like Denver, but very hot in the south central U.S. In fact, let's go on and switch to this. I'm not going to stick on this long. I know I don't talk about this region a whole lot, but you already got winter storm watches up in the blue. If you look really hard right here, a couple counties in Wyoming, and then some counties in basically the Rockies here in Colorado. But here it is. I'll start off with a bang. This is the National Weather Service out of Denver and Boulder, Colorado. Forecasting 3 inches of snow right now for Denver, but look all around it. Look, just several miles to your west and to your south and the foothills. It's going to be very elevation dependent. So, you don't have to drive far to get a foot and a half of snow. I mean, we're getting into May 20th time frame. So this is a big deal. It really is. It could be historic. We'll see if it breaks any records. But just south and just west of Denver is going to get absolutely clobbered. The foothills are going to get hit very hard, and the Front Range also. It's for May standards for sure. And this, even areas outside of the higher elevations, just the high plains of Colorado, could get accumulating snow. It is certainly possible. This is the National Weather Service, so this is a very reasonable thing to look at. But one thing you'll notice here is these are temperatures tomorrow. If you look really hard, this is Denver. You're in the mid 80s, mid to upper 80s in certain areas tomorrow, right? And then by the time you get into Friday, that cold front ushers through, and then you only have highs probably dropping throughout the day in the afternoon, probably in the 40s, and then they continue to drop. And then you'll get into Saturday, highs only in the 30s, with snow probably falling. You look at the latest European, and it shows this snowstorm developing. Well, back it up here. We get into Friday. Snow begins to move in. Rain switches to snow for a lot of people along the Front Range, including Denver, Boulder, Colorado Springs. And then it's just going to be a quick-hitting, pretty intense snowstorm. Very wet snow, obviously. But, this isn't unheard of. But once you start to get into mid to late May, it starts to get pretty rare. You see this a lot. In fact, I think March historically is Denver's a month where they see the most snow accumulation-wise. So it's not unheard of. It's just the way the pattern is out there. But when you're getting to May, it's pretty interesting, and it really is impressive. It really is. National Blend of Models has Denver at around 4 inches, but this could overachieve, because let me tell you, the GFS is wanting to put several inches on Denver, Colorado with this storm. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's just things are just kind of weird right now. There's multiple things to talk about, but nothing's like a massively big deal. So I think here in the future I'm going to start just keeping my videos just one a day. Not always, but some days I'm just going to take a break. It's just a matter of time before things get really active again. I really personally need to be taking advantage of this slower time so I can have energy when things pick back up, like in January, for example, when it feels like January was just a blur to me. It really was. It had so much growth, and I was just constantly going. I just felt like a machine almost. So it's kind of slower, which I forecasted with my goals that it would be. And, I'm just going to try to take advantage of that, So, and, if I skip an evening video, I apologize, but I'm always going to be consistent with those morning videos while things are slow. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll talk to y'all in the morning.